Alright, so if you're watching this is going to be the Q&A. I put out a video yesterday about doing the Q&A, ask me anything, so I'm just going to go down the list from first comment down. So, oh, and I don't know what happened, but the mic is working on the iPod again. It's picking up a lot of background noise though. I think all I did was spray a bunch of air through it and it just started working. But it picks up a lot of background noise, like the buzz from my light over there, so it might sound kind of funny. Alright, so first question is Willem Cosson. Do you make music yourself? If so, what sort? I did it one time because I had a free app. It was just some heavy metal type stuff. What do you like in music and why? Heavy metal, rock and roll, just I don't know, I grew up around oldies with my dad and then my older brother, metal, rap. Basically I like a little bit of everything, not too much country, except for Kid Rock is kind of country now, but mainly metal. And I've ever made or repaired a musical instrument. I did. I made a badass bass back in high school. It was the shape of a warlock, but instead of the jagged edges, it was rounded. Had an ebony fretboard with pearl inlays. It was badass, and it ended up getting stolen because they kept the rack up on the wall right next to a window that flipped open. So they flipped open the window, reached in, grabbed my bass, somebody else's guitars, and a couple other things, and gone. It was like a $500 bass. It was going to be so badass. I got a picture of it somewhere. I just can't find it. Whoa. That's a big one. Savani. If you found someone permanently shrunk down to the size of a bug, what would you do with them? Would you keep them against their will or let them go outside to fend for themselves? What would you see as vice versa? What if the person you found was someone you disliked? What would you say to them? What if they tried to run away or hurt you? If somebody was the size of a bug and tried to hurt me, I guess squash them. If they weren't trying to hurt me, get a fish tank, make a terrarium, I guess. If I grew to 100 feet tall, giant, what would you do? Cause havoc? A little bit, probably. I got that darker side. What would you do if you accidentally stepped on someone? Whoops. I don't know. It's a cool but weird question. What if the military started firing? Well, that depends. I mean, they got some pretty big missiles and rockets. I mean, if you got skin like Hulk, where it's basically bulletproof, then it's not going to do anything. 100 foot tall versus a big ass, say an A-10 Warthog airplane, you're going to get cut down to size. So I guess fight back if they start shooting at me. Billy Montgomery, boxers or briefs? Boxer briefs. Support. Mike Capozzi. Dave, I could pick up a radial arm saw with table for about $75, but not sure if I could really use it or need it. Would you recommend it or is it necessary? I would hate to be the guy on Craigslist trying to sell it to someone else. I use my radial arm saw 90% of the time over making a table saw sled or my miter saw, just because mine's a 12-inch. It's got plenty of power. It's a 3 horsepower, runs on 220 volt. So to cut down cutting boards this size, or the table I made recently, it's got plenty of power with a good blade on it. If you have the room and you feel that you would use it, mainly for the cut capacity of it, I'd say go for it, especially for 75 bucks. A 10-inch model is cool because obviously Frank Howarth uses his a lot for doing dados, and mine can hold a 10-inch blade. So eventually I'm going to start doing dados, but hold on. Okay, so Mike, I'd say for radial arm saw, if you've got the room for it, obviously 75 bucks isn't too bad. I'd go for it. I mean, they come in extremely handy. They got plenty of power depending on what kind you're looking at. Mine's a DeWalt. It's an older one. I got a Diablo blade on there. It works great. I don't know. It's kind of a personal preference. I didn't know if I was going to use it too much, but once I got it, I really use it a lot, for especially doing thicker stuff or really hardwoods. Phone's ringing. I'll be back. Okay, let's try this again. Mike, I'd go for the radial arm saw. Like I said, you got the room, you feel the need for it, just go for it. Dan at the Robbins Wood Shop. IPA, yes or no? I've had a couple. I'm not too keen on IPAs. I'm more of a lager guy. Sierra Nevada. I'm simple. That's about it. Brent Weisenborn. Who's the Niners taking to the first round of the draft? I have no clue. I don't follow the draft. Are they getting rid of Cap? There's been a lot of talk about that, but Chip Kelly wants to try to work with him, see what he can do. Cap's kind of, from what I've read, he's kind of still butthurt with the Niners. He wants out, but at the same time, he's not sure either. So that's kind of a toss-up. He's got some life left in him. He's got talent. He just needs to focus better, personally. And he says, "Hope my Cowboys draft Elliott." I hope the Cowboys draft nobody. No one's going to help them. I'm sorry. Joe over at Joe's Basement Woodworking. If you could choose one sponsor, who would it be and why? I'd have to go with Rockler. Not just because they got everything you could really need or want, but personally based off of personal going into the store, dealing with the guys there. I've called them a few times about some stuff, emails back and forth. They're just a really cool, easygoing company. And I've never had any problems with them in the past. So, Joe, I'd have to go with Rockler on that one. Lyle Copperstad, OSB or particle board? Depends on the application. Speaker box, OSB, work tabletop. I mean, a speaker box would be particle board. Work tabletop, I'd say particle board. Workbenches and walls, OSB and stuff like that, or a big ass cabinet. Ford or Chevy? Chevy. Born and raised, GM certified, Chevy. Semi-auto or revolver? I have both. I like a semi-auto because it holds more, but a revolver is, I'm an old school kind of person. I like the Western kind of days. Depends on the application, really. If it's just for a self-defense, I'd go with a revolver. I have a .357 Magnum, so I love that thing. Regular or decaf? Regular, all day long. I've already had 2 cups of regular. Vince Moser, where do you get your patterns? I'm guessing the scroll saw stuff. Probably stuff like this. I just search free patterns in Google, free scroll saw patterns, or I find a lot of pumpkin patterns, as long as they're free. And then I just kind of blow them up. I just learned how to do that through Paint and on the computer. And I just Google search a lot of stuff. There's a couple of Facebook groups that guys post in for their patterns that they make. But mainly just Google search free scroll saw patterns, free pumpkin patterns. There's a lot of sites out there you can go to. Shogun Jimmy, what has been your favorite project to build? I'm not really sure I have a favorite one yet. I mean, there's the scroll saw portraits are always really cool. I'm really proud of my shop, but it's not quite there. If I had to build my favorite project and why, or what would be my favorite project, I guess my shop, because that's always an ongoing build. I don't really have one favorite build yet. I haven't found that one yet. With unlimited budget, what project would you attempt to tackle? A dream shop. That's simple enough. If I had an unlimited budget, it would be my ultimate shop. But if it had to be something small, probably a Duresta meeting table. I think it was pretty badass. Tyler Evans, what got you started in woodworking? And can you get into Star Wars politics? I'll do the Star Wars politics at the end of this video, but I'll answer the first part of the question. What got you started in woodworking? I got started in woodworking because my dad was a plumber and a mechanic and a carpenter when I was younger, and in high school I got into a lot of trouble, and woodworking really got me focused, and I loved it. And then after high school, it was about 10 years later, I finally started dabbling in it a little more. But to be honest, the first woodworking video I ever saw was Steve Ramsey's video making the nail through the wood trick. I was like, I could do that. I went on Craigslist, bought a little tabletop table saw for $40, made it, and then from there I got a little miter saw, and then I borrowed a bandsaw, I borrowed a router. That was 3 years ago. Now I'm working on doing it full time. Right now it's still just a part-time thing, but for me it was an outlet to focus my ADD and ADHD and all that stuff into one general thing. So I mean, it's just, for me it was a mindset kind of thing. I needed to focus on something. And Desert Bum Woodworking, what do you consider your most satisfying wood project? Same question as earlier. I don't have one really. I mean, satisfying wise, the scroll saw stuff, the portraits, those are the more satisfying to me because I have no patience, and to sit there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and to come out with something that's completely, totally cool. Let me grab one real quick. For me, I'm not very good at drawing. I'm not an artist, but if I can make something like this, for me that's extremely satisfying. So I'd say not necessarily a project, but certain aspects of it. The scroll saw portraits are probably the most satisfying for me because they come out looking just so badass. James Ardeline, what's the best way you found to get subscribers and to build a following so it doesn't feel like I'm talking just to myself? I've asked that question repeatedly multiple times. I'm at like 2,600 now. I've been doing this for I think a year and a half, 2 years. Honestly, I just filmed everything, not everything, but most of what I do and just put it out there. That's about it. I don't know. I didn't do anything special to get subscribers or anything like that. I just did videos and put them up. There's nothing special to my videos. I mean, commenting a lot on other things where people can see you and they'll go from there, but other than that, I don't have a website yet. I don't have an Etsy store yet. But getting subscribers is kind of just film what you want and go from there. Favorite tool in the shop? That's Max's woodworking shop. I don't know. Right now, I'd say between the scroll saw and the lathe. I couldn't choose one. If I had to choose one, profit-wise, I'd go for the lathe. But like other questions, satisfaction-wise, I'd go with scroll saw. I've made good money on that selling portraits, but it's just what you can make on a scroll saw is just crazy cool. So favorite tool in the shop, I'd have to go for my scroll saw. The dirt fighter. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck wood could chuck wood? I can't even say it. I don't know, man. 4 chords. The last question I have on here, Max the Barbarian. Make a battle axe, please. It's coming. I just got a cool metal bandsaw. Let me grab it real quick. I just got this. Oh, how cool is that? I got this in trade. I framed in a triple bunk bed for some friends. And he pulls it out and he goes, "Here, you want this?" Yeah. He's okay, cool. Is that what I owe you? Hell yeah. See, retails for like $300. It's a hell of a deal. Okay, so I said I'd go into Star Wars politics a little bit at the end of the video. Let me find your name again. Hold on. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Okay, Tyler Evans. So the thing about, I'm not too keen on it, but what I do know is Star Wars politics makes no sense, really. There's a ton of different factors between 1 through 3 episodes. There was the Galactic Republic, which was basically the Senate, where they all voted and all that stuff, and then there was all the other worlds, like say Naboo, where Princess Amidala was from. The public themselves voted in somebody. In the Galactic Republic, and then there was a Trade Federation, which obviously everybody knows Palpatine had them come in, and Palpatine used Trade Federation as pawns to stage a war, and then that part happened, and then but there's also the Jedi Council. The Jedi Council governed over a lot, but the Galactic Republic and the government really didn't have reign over them. Only Palpatine did to a certain extent. So I mean, it's real confusing. I really don't even know that much about it. But so Palpatine did that, had the Trade Federation come in, act as a war, use them as pawns, and then they use the Jedi as pawns. And the clones, he turned against the Jedi. And so after Episode 3, became the Empire, and then you had the Rebels, the Rebel Force. It's all big weird stuff. Oh, buddy. I'm gonna go to the park. Can I finish my video?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Lift me up.
Why? I'm trying to film this.
Wait, did I get my glasses?
A while ago. I'm talking about Star Wars right now.
Oh. Wait, what should I say about Star Wars?
I don't know. I'm talking about...
Oh, did you already tell them about the stormtroopers?
Yes, the clones. I was just talking about that. I'm talking about politics.
Did you tell them about...
I can't tell them about that because people might not know about those guys yet. They haven't come out yet.
I want to tell them.
Tell them.
The Shadow Troopers too.
Yes, they're Shadow Troopers. They haven't been shown yet. Okay, go back inside. Go.
But only on the game.
They'll be in the movies too.
Ah.
Okay. Shut the door, please.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, bye to the camera.
Okay. All right. Shut the door. Okay. So then, which turned into the Galactic Empire, the Galactic Republic Empire. It turned into the Empire, which was obviously ruled by Sith Lord Palpatine. Blah blah blah. And you had the Rebels, which that episode 3 through 6 was kind of, I don't know. It's hard to explain really. But in the new Star Wars, you got the New Republic, the First Order, and then you have the Resistance, which the Resistance is ran by Leia, which the Resistance has support from the New Republic, and that's why the First Order wipes out the Republic. If you haven't seen the movie yet, spoiler alert. The new movie is kind of off of the 3 through 6 trilogy, the way that politics work. The dark side is still ruling over everything. They're just called the First Order now. I mean, it's hard to explain, really. I mean, there's just so much to it. I mean, if anything, if you want to know all the politics about Star Wars, I would say just Google Star Wars politics. I guarantee there's going to be a whole mess of stuff out there. I probably didn't answer your question at all, but there's so many bureaucracies and governments and rebellions and all this different stuff in Star Wars that it really doesn't make any sense at all. I don't know. I'm still working on a project, so thanks for watching.